Welcome back to the Elders Inspire Awe podcast, where elderhood is understood as the very frontier of human evolution. My name is myratara, and this podcast is brought to you by Heroes Hermitage and the Sacred Mother Elders Council. Today, I want to name the elephant that has been sitting quietly in the background of all my elderhood podcasts, and this is that age is not enough to produce elderhood. Elderhood is a developmental achievement. It is the achievement of an inner state of being that is only possible in the later years, but it is not automatic. Elderhood emerges through stages of inner work. Just as the body must grow through stages, the inner self must also grow through stages. To become a teenager, a baby must travel the full journey of growth, infancy, childhood, adolescence, with all the awkwardness, all the stretching, all the discomfort. The inner self has its developmental path as well, and it starts, believe it or not, inside another human heart. Elderhood is the end result of the soul's inner journey. The inner self must be welcomed into the world. There is no entry to real life without the warm acceptance of another human being. I'd like to say that again. The inner self must be welcomed into the world. There is no entry to real life without the warm acceptance of another human being. Acceptance is the soul's only portal to the inside. Once welcomed to life through another's living human heart, the inner self, the soul, is now free to begin its long journey of clarifying, developing, and offering its unique gifts in service to humanity. You should know that the Heroes Hermitage provides a portal to this freedom that all humans deserve through our own warm, living human hearts for those still yearning for this acceptance. Once the unique gift is delivered in service to humanity, usually by late midlife, this is a long sort of middle of the lifespan process, the inner self must now surrender itself. After giving its gift and knowing that it has made a difference in the world, I think what we call self-actualization, the inner self must now surrender itself to a trusting, co-creative dance with the universe. This is a dance toward a final co-creative project that could not have been known until right now. It's called the Incarnation Contract. Your whole life prepares you for this cutting-edge project, which is always deeply relevant to the person's contemporary world. It's relevant to the world you're living in right now. Because it blends your uniqueness with the needs of your contemporary world, it could not have been conceptualized until now. The capacity for this late life synergy with the universe is how we define elderhood at Heroes Hermitage. I'll say that again. The capacity for this late life synergy with the universe is how we define elderhood at Heroes Hermitage. And get this, though. In the end, elderhood is gifted to us. It is a byproduct of all the inner work required to get there. I mean, it's one thing to think about what it is, but it's almost something that you sort of can't put into words. One starts to sense this beautiful and unexpected bestowal of felt oneness beyond all understanding. It's a gift. But you can't bypass the stages. You simply cannot. Just as you cannot do algebra before you learn multiplication, you cannot hold the high coherence of elderhood without first doing the earlier work of feeling, facing, and integrating your whole life. Luckily, older adults tend to have a strong need to understand the whole life they have lived. So there's this kind of built-in synergy between achieving elderhood and what is already going on with older adults psychologically. And here's another thing. Just as once the body grows, it cannot go backwards, just as we can't become 5 years old again, no matter how much we miss nap time, real inner growth is the same way. It moves in one direction. Once you develop a capacity, to be truly present, to be honest with yourself and with others, to regulate your own emotions and to regulate the emotions of others when that is needed, to hold differences with grace. These capacities are yours forever, though you may wobble from time to time. I like to tell elders, you can take this with you. This is true investment. Oh, the gurus love to provide us with pretty slogans. You've heard them, just change your thinking. as if our thinking isn't rooted in the deeply ingrained blueprints of how life works established in childhood. Just trust life, as if trust isn't the nervous system's reflection of having actually been held, met, and seen by another human heart. Be here now, as if presence appears on command without removing suppressed distractions or doing the inner work that makes stillness possible. Just notice when you shrink yourself, as if the fear of rejection is not fear of one of the hardest human experiences we will ever know. It's all choice. Just choose, as if the reasoning head can simply override the longing, frightened heart. Stop seeking approval, as if we don't have to seek approval until we feel deeply accepted in life, at least once, by someone safe enough to anchor us. Do you feel the gap between these pretty words and reality? These slogans point towards something real, but they omit the developmental path required to actually experience it. You don't just drift into elderhood, especially if you have had to manage childhood trauma, which is the case for over 60% of us in the United States. Either you engage in the inner work required to grow into these capacities, or you live in a constant battle with your inner impulses. So, in podcast 1, I spoke of the deep warmth in our African heritage, a human warmth that is gold and the single most important ingredient for generating loving bonds, feelings of safety, and trust. What I did not say is that reclaiming and expressing our warmth after generations of trauma in the West requires serious developmental work. Our nervous systems have been shaped by fear, economic stress, and intergenerational pain. Excavating our warmth is holy work at Heroes Hermitage. It is not automatic. In podcast 2, I spoke of the incarnation contract, the later life purpose reserved only for elders. I described elderhood as the moment when our highest purpose finally comes within reach. What I did not emphasize is that arriving at this cutting-edge purpose is itself a massive developmental achievement. You don't receive the incarnation contract in your inbox one morning. You grow into the level of coherence required to recognize it. In podcast 3, I described the high degree of coherence and harmony that members of the Sacred Mother Elders Council embody. You know, that together sister energy, where all the parts of life line up gracefully. I did not unpack how intense and honest the inner work must be that generates that kind of coherence. That togetherness is not personality. It is the fruit of the deep integration work that we specialize in at Heroes Hermitage. In podcast 4, I spoke of elders as game changers, humans who can literally alter the emotional climate around them. And again, behind that possibility is serious inner work. Grief expressed, shame metabolized, defenses softened, warmth and love uncovered. In podcast 5, I raised a question: are you becoming old or becoming energy? We explored the subtle body, vibration, and the way an elder's energy field can feel stabilizing to others. But I didn't lay out the beautiful developmental journey of becoming such an energy. Today's episode number 6, is my way of pausing and saying clearly, none of this is magic. It is glorious developmental work. Elderhood is not a hat that you put on at age 60. It is a state of being that you grow into through honest engagement with your own inner life. The Sacred Mother Elders Council is not a club for older women. It is a gathering of elder mothers who have done or who are willing to do their inner work, mothers who have turned toward their shadows, not away, mothers who have faced the harm they have endured, the harm they have caused, and allowed that truth to humble them into love. Mothers whose presence is now medicine. Because they have integrated enough of their own pain to stand steady in the presence of others' pain. That's the Sacred Mother Elders Council. Without development, we just get older. With development, we become medicine. Thank you so much for listening to the Elders Inspire Awe podcast. If what we're doing here at the Sacred Mother's Elders Council is becoming clearer to you, if this message resonates, please like, follow, and share this episode with an elder mother or someone becoming one. And if you feel the council calling you, reach out to us at contactus@hearershermitage.info. We are Hearers Hermitage because being heard is so close to being loved that no one can tell the difference. Thank you again for listening. Until next time, be well.